account, started using that. Took that Facebook account, went over to a friend's house, created another Facebook account. So, they're going to talk with each other, and they use them interchangeably and seamlessly out there. Social networks should not be integrated into the classroom. At least Facebook and MySpace should not become part of the classroom out there. That's because they are a social space. We're taking away a social space when we do that. It's kind of creepy. To have your parents be, monitoring your MySpace account is kind of creepy out there. So, at the same time, why do we only see value in education in a push mechanism? We push education to our youngsters. We push information to them in the classrooms, when in fact, we should be teaching them how to evaluate, interpret, and assess all this information out there that they're pulling in to their spaces, to their IM accounts or to their Facebook accounts. We're doing them a real disservice by not teaching them how to deal with all this information out there that they're choosing to pull in. Instead, we just continue pushing stuff to them. Come up with a couple of theories that I wanted to just mention real quick, one in particular, and that is, what are the things that are the properties of socially networked public spaces, and what does that kind of lead to? So there's a couple characteristics. One thing to start out with is Facebook and the social networking sites that are out there are what I call unmediated or mediated social environments. This takes a little bit to think about. Unmediated environments are ones in which the boundaries are structurally defined. Now, it sounds a little, confusing because you would think something that's unmediated is not structured, but it is. Here's an example. If I say, I embarrassed myself in public by spilling my drink on myself, what I'm doing is saying that I am restricting my audience to the people who are around me who saw me do this. It's not like everybody in the world knows that I just spilled my drink on myself, unless Tom, takes a picture of it and puts it out on a mediated site out there. What mediated publics do, though, is they expose this to the world. Specifically, when mediating technologies like newsprint and radio and TV and the Internet, they change everything. Because, in addition, the potential audience is affected by that technology as well. So, mediated public spaces have a couple of things that we need to think about, a couple of characteristics. One is persistence. Things stay around out there. That hasn't been true before. For a long time, people could say things and then maybe somebody would forget them after a week or so. You put something on your Facebook page, it's going to be remembered. It may even still be searchable out there. Replicability. You can be altered. We've all heard of the cases of a MySpace, photo that's been doctored, showing somebody in a compromising position where they really weren't there. But if it's digital, it can be changed. Searchability. You can be found. You can be located. That's something my mom would have loved when I was a teenager. She would be able to find me wherever I was. I wanted to hide. I wanted to get away from her and hang out with my friends. But you can be found on this in socially networked publics. Scalability. That's what I was talking about before. You can't really whisper. When you say something out there, it's going to get repeated. And what happens with teenagers and with the youth of our country is it really exacerbates the drama in their lives. There's already a lot of drama in teenagers' lives anyway, but social networks really, really amplify that. And it scales up real fast, and you really can't hide. Rumor mongering on Facebook is a serious problem. And finally, delocatability. And by that I mean you can go mobile. And what's interesting to me, something I'm starting to study now, is that while mobility dislocates you from a specific space, when you're mobile and you take your cell phone around, it dislocates you from a specific physical space, it actually makes your location now more relevant because you can be tracked wherever you are. GPS on phones is just one example. So what do these kind of 5 characteristics of socially networked publics lead to? Leads to really 3 things that I'm interested in studying. One of them is the concept of invisible audiences. it's not just the loss of nonverbal feedback when you have the things going on the internet, but it's that visitors can access the content at a later date in a different environment, which produces a different context. So something that you said, that you posted on your Facebook 2 years ago, when you were in the middle of a fight with your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, may come back and be read 2 years hence, and it's like it's taken totally out of context because that's not even where you're at today. So that's the invisible audience, kind of impact of these characteristics. The second is what I call collapsed contexts. And that's kind of related because when we speak, we account for audience and context. When I'm speaking here to you today, I take a certain kind of attitude and address my words to you. But what you say that's appropriate for one audience is not appropriate for another. Social media brings all of these contexts kind of crashing together. And you've all experienced this in a very small way within email, where what you said is not what the other person heard out there. And that's just a one-to-one transmission, much less a one-to-many transmission that social network sites have. And the third area, and this actually is getting addressed a little bit by youth, and that's the blurring of private and public spaces out there. They blur the distinctions that we make between appropriate environments out there. Youth are starting to. I mean, in the early days of MySpace, parents were very concerned that teenagers and their youngsters were putting stuff out there that was going to come back and haunt them because they were putting private stuff in what parents perceived as public places. And some of that actually is getting regulated by the youth themselves. But there still is this jarring of there is no distinction now in a lot of cases between public and private spaces. So these are the areas that I've been kind of interested in. And I spend a lot of my time talking with teenagers. In fact, with the MacArthur Grant, I basically spent 2 years just driving around the country talking with teenagers out there. And they opened up to me after a while when they saw that I wasn't an enemy, and that I kind of got where they were coming from, and I was not going to set up a MySpace account so that I could be their friend. I was interested in why they were doing this. And so they did talk to me, and that informed a lot of the research that I did, for the MacArthur Foundation in the Digital Youth Project. So that's really a little bit about the stuff that I'm interested in. My hat is kind of quirky. I like fuzzy hats. I kind of got known for wearing them when I had a cold once, and then I wore it at the next time I talked, and because I was actually cold then at that other conference. Then pretty soon it was just like danah boy, that weird queer girl who doesn't capitalize her name and wears fuzzy hats. So that's why I wear the hat. That is kind of a quirky. Are there any questions that I can entertain out there? Sure.
As I know, you are specialized in social networking,
and
you wrote about the social using the Facebook and MySpace as a dissertation. So, as I know, the Google's website provides a kind of a searching engine free of charge. Instead, they let the money through the advertising. But I wonder why the Facebook or MySpace provide the free the social space
instead of charging people to have their accounts there. If you've noticed over on Facebook, they have some little ads over there too. So they do run they get advertising over there, and because they've got so many users out there, they have a lot of people paying big money to have just a small, tiny little ad over there. The other way, if you've ever have you ever sent a gift to somebody in Facebook? They have some that are free, but the really cool gifts cost money, and you buy them from Facebook to send a fake, basically some electrons, a picture of a donut or something like that, or a birthday cake to somebody out there. So it's not even real. You're paying for an image that they created, and they did a good job in creating the image, but you're paying for that. It can be copied over a gazillion times. So once they've built it, if they can sell it, they can sell it a gazillion times with absolutely no cost out there. So they sell some of those little things as well.